Genocidal onslaught. Over 45,000 innocent lives lost to Nigerian security forces in Southeast. How many are we? Please, can somebody remind me? Okay. Coalition. Peter Obi and Cmmty will fight over presidential ticket. Primet Ayodele. If I am to advise Peter Obi, I am not his spokesperson and neither do I support the Nigerian politics. But if I am to give just anonymous my own candidate advice, let Peter Obi remains with his Labour Party. These people are working together. Cmmty, David Mark, Arigbesola, El-Rufai, Atiku. You see all these people I mentioned? They are working against Peter Obi. They are in hand. They are 100% in touch with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Go and verify. They will use an Igbo man now against another fellow Igbo man. The same thing Nyesom Wike did before 2023 general election. Igbos never learn anything and they will never learn. These people are playing games on their head. Cmmty and Obi now we're going to fight. And on doing so, they will then declare the presidential ticket for ADC open, and then Atiku will step in. Government of the zoo and the Bello Tuji in talks as bandit leader embraces peace pact. According to Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, Bello Tuji have murdered over 782,000 people in Zamfara. In Sokoto alone, he has murdered over 132,000. In Katsina, Bello Tuji have murdered 58,000 people. These are the numbers by Nigeria Bureau of Statistics brought out to the general public. Nobody debunked that. Nnamdi Kanu is in detention for not committing any crime. Now the same government is in a table now, a round table discussion with Bello Tuji to discuss on a peace pact. God have mercy. Finland government already see this one, right? UK already see this one. Donald J. Trump already see this one. No wahala. Time shall tell. Moving forward. Ghanaians protest the installation of Igbo leader as king in Accra. These and other headlines is what we are going to trade this morning. Please, my wonderfully made Biafran brothers and sisters, as you are watching, please kindly drop your opinion at the comment section. Once again, I want to say thanks for joining this program. My name is Cmmty Okulorawan Nation, and I'm here to bring this information to give you. Please kindly drop your opinion at the comment section once again, as I said earlier, because we need to be judging this matter accordingly. Well, let us proceed. In a revealing report released in 2025 by the International Society for Civil Liberty and Rule of Law, Inter-Society, the alarming patterns of extrajudicial violence carried out by Nigerian security agencies, including the Navy, the Army, and Police, since 2015 have been comprehensively documented in all took place in the Biafra land. The summary of this investigation highlights a disturbing truth. These security forces, along with paramilitary groups and state-sponsored vigilantes, initiated their aggressive campaign against innocent civilians in the southeast region, subsequently intensifying their operations under the pretense of combating alleged Biafra agitators. The findings are staggering. The report estimates that more than 32 civilians have been killed, either through or over executions or forced disappearances, with many thousands more unaccounted for, likely lost to illicit detentions in military facilities across northern Nigeria. Moreover, over 300 Igbo communities have faced destruction, leading to the displacement of approximately 180,000 individuals. Approximately 6,000 civilian homes and properties valued at over 450 billion naira have been obliterated due to military assaults. It is clear that the brutal tactics used by the federal government against the East are not new, but rather a continuation of a grim history, a mass extermination agenda that began in 1970 during the 30-month genocidal conflict instigated by the federal military in response to a desperate bid for self-preservation by the region. Since the early 2000s, following a resurgence of the Biafra self-determination movement fueled by long-standing political and economic marginalization and strangulation, successive Nigerian administrations have waged a covert war against the eastern populace, masking their actions under the guise of suppressing dissent voices. The Tinubu's administration currently continues the harsh policies of its predecessors, targeting members of the eastern population and unjustly profiling them as part of the IPOB movement. Despite the government's misguided attempts to quash the legitimate pursuit of Biafra self-determination through force, the agitation only seems to be gaining more support. The foundational grievances that revive the desire for Biafra have not only gone unaddressed, but have been exacerbated. With thousands of Igbo and Biafran youths, including IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, unjustly imprisoned and the presence of military forces across the southeast. Along with rampant extortion, the struggle for Biafra self-determination will only continue to strengthen. The right of self-determination is a legitimate and globally recognized principle. Therefore, the resolution of the Biafra issue must come through formal political efforts rather than through hostile actions. The Fulani government is essentially engaged in a genocidal campaign against a people who have endured nothing but death and suffering since their forced incorporation into the Nigerian state by colonial powers. It is crucial for the international community to urge the Nigerian government to abandon its destructive tactics and adopt more constructive approaches to resolving the Nigeria-Biafra conflict. Releasing the thousands of political prisoners held indefinitely in military facilities and providing compensation for lost lives and properties could serve as an initial step in addressing the concerns behind the agitation, paving the way for further constructive processes. Family Writers Press International. Peter Obi and Amechi is going to fight over presidential ticket. APC prophet or the APC pastor Ayodele Primate. The leader of Int'L Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primate Ayodele Elijah, has warned of an imminent clash between two key members of the opposition coalition. He said former Transportation Minister Rotimi Amechi and former presidential candidate of the Labour Party Peter Obi will clash over the African Democratic Congress coalition's presidential ticket. Primate Ayodele disclosed this during the unveiling of his annual prophecy book titled Warnings to the Nations, which is 2025-2026 edition. He disclosed that though the ADC coalition is divine, it could collapse due to the selfishness of politicians. Primate Ayodele said the ADC coalition is divine, has the capacity to pull up something great in 2027, but politicians with selfish interests can collapse it. I am seeing Peter Obi and Rotimi Amechi having a public fallout due to the presidential ticket of the ADC before 2027. The prophet also disclosed that Obi and Amechi may pull out the movement because of the presidential ticket. He said if Obi doesn't get the presidential ticket, he will pull out of the movement. If Obi doesn't get presidential ticket, he will pull out of the coalition. Like I said, the coalition is divine. But humans can jeopardize the movement. They need to be careful, he added. Government of the zoo and Tuji Bello, the terrorist, in talks as bandit leader embraces peace path. In a surprising development that has sparked cautious optimism across Nigeria Northwest, notorious terrorist leader Bello Tunji has released a video indicating his readiness to embrace peace and end years of violent conflict. In a video which surfaced online earlier this week, Tunji confirmed that negotiations are ongoing between him and authorities at both federal and state levels. He described past attacks attributed to him as a result of misunderstandings and emphasized that he remains a citizen of the region committed to finding a peaceful path forward. The message, though met with skepticism in some quarters, is being seen by others as a rare opportunity for meaningful dialogue. Tunji's sudden shift in tone comes when intensified military operations had dealt seriously blows to armed groups in Zamfara, Sokoto, and Katsina State, including the recent killings of a top commander, Dan Bokolo. Analysts believe that the timing of the video could suggest a calculated effort to seek protection or leniency, but it also opens a potential window for peace that authorities may choose to explore. Tunji's remarks have revived long-running debate around negotiating with armed non-state actors, especially those with long records of violence. He is accused of masterminding mass killings, abductions, and village raids across the Northwest. Yet, some observers point to the government's previous reintegration programs for ex-Boko Haram fighters and Niger Delta militants as precedent for potential engagement, albeit one that must be approached with strict conditions and community involvement. Communities most affected by the violence remain wary, for families still grieving lost loved ones or displaced from their homes. Tunji's call for peace may appear hollow without justice. There are also fears that peace overthought without accountability could send the wrong signal to other armed groups. Past experiences have shown that premature reintegration efforts, such as in the case of Yellow Jamboros and Dogogide, have sometimes led to renewed violence by their loyalists. Tunji's message introduces a new element to the region's long-standing crisis and the possibility to end to the bloodshed if authorities choose to engage. Experts says the process must be rooted in justice, community consultation, and strict monitoring to prevent a relapse. The federal government has yet to issue an official response to Tunji's claims, but the video is already prompting fresh conversations on how best to resolve rural insecurity in Nigeria. For now, Tunji's words remain just that, wars, but in a region exhausted by conflict, even wars that hint at peace can be a welcome first step toward breaking the cycle of violence. The last, but not the least, Ghanaians protest installation of Igbo leader as king in Accra. The installation of a Nigerian traditional leader, Eze Chukwudi Ihenetu, as Eze Ndi Igbo, Ghana, king of Igbo people in Ghana, has triggered widespread protest and public outcry across the region. The development, which has drawn criticism from youth, groups, and cultural advocates, is being opposed by protesters who say the presence of a foreign monarch undermines Ghana's sovereignty and traditional chieftaincy institutions. Protesters in Accra and parts of the East region were seen carrying placards with messages such as "No foreign thrones in Ghana" and "Honor our heritage," according to the message here. Their concerns were amplified after photos of Eze Iheanatu's elaborate palace in Accra surfaced online, featuring regal emblems and traditional architecture. Daily Post report that the title of Eze Ndị Igbo is commonly used within Igbo communities abroad as a symbolic culture institution. However, critics in Ghana argue that the creation of such thrones by foreigners could set a precedent for parallel leadership structures within the country. There have also been unconfirmed reports that the Igbo leader is planning to establish a 50-acre Igbo kingdom in Old Ningo, further fueling suspicions among some Ghanaians. Alleged land acquisitions by the Igbo community have added to these concerns, although no official evidence have been provided. Public reactions intensified following the circulation of a video showing Ghanaian broadcaster Captain Smart kneeling before Eze Iheanatu during a public ceremony. The footage, which has gone viral, has sparked heated debate on social media. Some citizens are calling on the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs to intervene and clarify whether Ghanaian laws permit foreigners to hold royal titles on Ghanaian soil. In response to the controversy, Eze Chukwudi Iheanatu has defended his position, stating that the role is ceremonial and meant solely to unify the Igbo community, or rather Igbo peoples, in Ghana. The throne of the diasporan Igbo in Ghana is meant to protect, defend, and protect the Igbo people and Nigerians as a whole. We have no political authority or territorial ambitions in Ghana. This is purely cultural, he said in a recent interview. So, my good people, what do you think concerning this matter? We are just raised here. Starting from the genocide, starting from coalition, starting from government of Zoo negotiating with a terrorist leader, Bello Tunji, and down to the shocking of protest against the selection of Igbo leader as king in Accra, Ghana. What is your take? I want you to drop it at the comment section of this video. Once again, thanks for watching. Please endeavor to subscribe, like, share, comment, and make sure you keep sharing our videos so that it will get to the people who really need to hear it. I remain your one and only Amanda Neze, or you call me Ukulora, One Nation, bringing to you this early morning information.